Okay, you have heard the Thong Song, right? Cisco, the Thong Song. I can't remember his real name. From the album Unleash the Dragon. No, that song, man. I remember just coming out and seeing the music video where there's just all those chicks with their thongs or bikinis or whatever, and yeah, it got me excited. I think I remember Big Pimpin', the Jay-Z music video, had like a nip slip back then on TV, and you had to like download the video on LimeWire to see that like boob and shit. It was pretty. Back then, you were just trying to like find any sort of any media, like we're little boys. We're trying to find any source for pornography. But let's talk about the Thong Song. How it doesn't need to go that hard, but it does. Where it just starts out real slow with the with the violins and shit, and then it gets harder, and the lyrics are just of course repetitive, but man, it just gets so hard whenever that crescendo hits, and I don't think you heard me. I said I like the way you move that day. I said right, yes, you're right here, baby, yeah. That shit goes so hard. Like, Cisco didn't need to do that, and I don't. Oh, it's Drew Hill. There we go. I just remembered his name, Drew Hill. I don't think he was part of the Fugees. No, that's Lauryn Hill. But yeah, I know Unleash the Dragon. I might have heard the album once or twice. Knowing me, I remember back when they had the BMG CDs where you can get like 12 CDs for one penny or $1. I would always submit fake names, like little variations of my names but the same address, like Lorenz or Lorenza or Larry or Lauren, and I would get all these extra CDs for just a penny, and then you just put Bill Me Later, and yeah, you just have all the CDs. And I remember getting, man, maybe all the Korn CDs, and that Maya Fear of Flying with the Case of the X, if you've ever heard that song. Dun, 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 yeah, that I remember that CD goes pretty hard. And then Korn, just Life is Peachy, just yeah, that chick was pretty hard. I know a buddy of mine that apparently every time he would play pool, like billiards, he would put on Unleash the Dragon, and he was basically unstoppable. When Unleash the Dragon was playing, you would hand him a Dr. Pepper and put Unleash the Dragon, and he couldn't be beat. He was like Wesker, from Resident Evil. He was unstoppable, like literally in that mood, And another song that goes pretty when you play Whoop There It Is, like in a stadium or when your team is down, like in the Mighty Ducks, you play Whoop There It Is, and you're suddenly invincible. You're like Goku Kaioken times 10. You just can't be beat. You'll just have to fucking go knuckle puck time like Keenan and in fucking the Mighty Ducks 2. But yeah, I was thinking about too how Coolio just died. That's not cool. That sucks. It's terrible. And he was all young too, and it wasn't like gang related stuff. I don't think they've released how he died, which is, I mean, he didn't look healthy. He didn't look like the healthiest person. But man, Gangster's Paradise goes fucking hard too. All these songs do. Fucking they didn't need to go that hard. And I remember when that movie came out, Dangerous Minds, and my mom was really into it. and I might have seen it once, but I really don't know the plot to Dangerous Minds. Do you? Can, can you answer the question? No. Does anyone really know? Because that song, Gangster's Paradise, shows up in the movie Dangerous Minds. I want to say that's Michelle Pfeiffer in the video. Right? I don't know. But, yeah, do you really know what that movie's about? Or, oh man, now got me thinking of those old movies like Ghost. I might have to take back what I said about the time traveler's wife being the most romantic, because Ghost is pretty fucking romantic too, and it's scary. It doesn't like know what it wants to be. Is it a scary movie? Is it a love story? Is it? I don't know. But Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore and Whoopi Goldberg, back when, man, that movie like was scary whenever those demons would come out, and the audio is just like slowed down baby cries, and they're just pulling, someone's dead soul into their version of hell, And then there's that part in the middle of the movie where that one dude shows him how to harness his abilities with like a soda can in a train station, like a subway. And I always wanted to know more about that dude, because that was pretty fucking mysterious, that whole section where that guy's just kind of in limbo, like he just doesn't go anywhere. But I don't know, it's pretty epic. And then talking about Patrick Swayze, to Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. If you've never seen that movie, it is a great movie, and I do not know why the LGBTQ community or the trans or whoever doesn't reference that more, because it's just a very, like, I remember seeing it and it was just a great movie. Very, I don't know, now when I look back on it, I just recently watched it again, it's very progressive. But then, I guess you could call it kind of just playing to whomever. But Patrick Swayze and Wesley Snipes and John Leguizamo are like really beautiful women. Like, I don't know why they went so hard in those roles. I don't think they won any awards. I don't think they got paid a shit ton of money. They just decided to dress like women and act like women, and it was just, man, they killed it. If you've never seen To Wong Fu, it's a great movie. I think so. And then, of course, RuPaul's in it, because RuPaul has to be in every movie about drag, which RuPaul's a pretty hot woman. It's kind of a creepy-looking dude, but a very, very attractive woman. So I'll say that person, RuPaul, was kind of born in the wrong skin, because, yeah, she makes a very hot woman. And I don't know why thinking about RuPaul has me thinking about when Richard Simmons was at our Walmart. Richard Simmons was at our Walmart there in Uvalde, because apparently Uvalde years ago was like labeled the fattest town in Texas or America. I don't know. It was pretty rowdy. I know we've had random celebrities show up there in Uvalde, because you have like Matthew McConaughey, originally from there, and I think Stone Cold showed up at the Walmart once and kind of blew everyone's mind. I'm sure Shawn Michaels went by there too, but I remember Richard Simmons showed up for us, the town winning the fattest city in Texas or America. And I remember my mom getting a picture with Richard Simmons, and even back then I thought that was pretty tight. I really enjoyed Richard Simmons. He's all goofy, he's just goofy, and he's pretty gay. But I was never against the gays back then. I had a couple of gay uncles, and they were always cool. I felt like gays were I never had anything against gays. And as far as like black people, I literally did not know any black people. There was I pretty damn sure there was only 2 black people in that town, and so it was a huge culture shock when I moved to like a bigger city, and there's just a lot of black people. And the few that I did know in town, I was cool with them. you know, I literally was not used to them, because I'm sure they were just as afraid to, you know, evolve, no, to adapt in that town where it's just a shit ton of white people. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Uvalde's pretty racist. I remember thinking about how racist the Rexall drugstore was down there, and how I would go in and I would get stared at, and I never like thought about it. I never thought anything about it, but I remember now them just staring and wondering why I'm in there, and I know they knew my mom, or once they knew who I was and who my mother was, they kind of backed down, because years ago, my mother was a respected town person, and then all that shit went down where she ran for school board, and all these things came to light because of politics, you know, where she was, you know, my dad was drunk, and he was having an affair with this woman, some fucking waitress from Hondo, and my mother was having an affair with a mailman that was a millionaire to a certain like estate there, and his wife was like a respected member, blah blah blah. So when all that shit like came to light, it was pretty rowdy. I remember just my mother like losing her job and having to pull out her retirement, and we're just all, you know, dealing with that. And then I remember a day where what happened? Sorry, who the fuck is that? That the child services tried to take us away because of some shit that like they said we were like being not taken care of by my mother, and so my dad took us to his house, and then when my mother showed back up to go get us, they got into like a physical fight, and my father hit her over the head with like a 2x4, and like broke her head open, and she's bleeding everywhere. And I remember like she was just bleeding everywhere, and she's, oh, I need a cigarette, and I was like freaking out. I was maybe 15 or 16, and yeah, just seeing my mom's head open, bleeding everywhere, and her just saying, I need a cigarette, somebody give me a cigarette. And then the cops coming and arresting her, and then taking her to San Antonio to a mental facility because they said she was crazy. That was pretty rowdy. Like I'm pretty much vividly remember all that. And you know, now I look back on it, and it was kind of all true. My mom is crazy, and I'm sure that's where I get my mental sicknesses from her, and her mother gets them from her mother, you know. But that's what we do. We live with it. What can we do other than to, I don't know, fucking cope with it? It was weird. I remember after that, them taking me and my little brother to a mental questionnaire. And this is something that's always stuck with me, where they sit us down and they're asking us questions. And one of the questions was, do you believe in ghosts? And I said no. And then the next question was, do these ghosts talk to you? And I'm like, well, how am I supposed to answer this when it's yes or no? If I put no, then the ghost could still be there. They're just not talking to me. Or if I put yes, I don't know. It didn't make any sense. But I'll tell the story closer to Halloween, like a scary movie of my mother and her, some of the past that I know, and how she's just a terrible person. And you know, I don't fall far from that tree, so I'm a terrible person. But I want to thank you all for existing, and you know, why don't you go and listen to the Thong Song? It's it'll really get you pumped the fuck up to play some billiards.